All those nights you felt it, that electric pull in your chest, the whispers they called paranoia. Turns out you were ahead of the curve. After years of denial, they finally admitted the truth. You were right all along. The polished narratives, the scripted smiles, and the illusion of spontaneity were always tools to distract, not enlighten. Hollywood didn't just create stories, it curated realities, shaping how the world thought, felt, and even rebelled. Beneath the glitz was a system not built to entertain but to control, subtly guiding beliefs and instincts. You always sensed it, that pulse beneath the surface no one else seemed to notice. The media, the glamour, it was never innocent. It was calculated, deliberate, and ruthless. For years they dismissed those who questioned, ridiculing the instinct that told you to look closer. But you refused to silence that inner voice. You saw the symbols woven into the performances, the uncanny synchronicity of events, and the inexplicable patterns that couldn't be coincidence. You were the one who knew something was off when the rest of the world clung to the illusion. They called it conspiracy, paranoia, or simple overthinking, but now the admissions come in fragments, slips of the tongue, leaked documents, and hurried denials. They finally acknowledged what you've always understood. Hollywood was a vessel, not for creativity but for influence. The truth doesn't merely expose the media machine, it pierces deeper, unraveling the unseen threads of spirituality they have tried so desperately to hide. For centuries, ancient wisdom was fractured, diluted, and commodified, sold back to the masses as hollow trends. But you saw through it. You recognized the fragments of a greater whole, an essence buried under layers of misdirection. The rituals disguised as performances, the chants hidden in lyrics, the energy manipulated through screens, all designed to tap into something ancient and powerful. Not everyone could feel it, but you could. They didn't want you to know the power in recognizing patterns, the strength in questioning their constructed reality. You were never just an observer. You were the outlier, the anomaly they feared. Because when someone like you notices, it's never a passive act, it's a ripple that turns into a wave. Their fear was not in you knowing, but in others starting to see what you see. They admitted it too late. The damage was done. The narrative is cracking, the once flawless machine sputtering under the weight of exposed secrets. You stand as proof of the inevitable. Truths, no matter how deeply buried, always rise. They underestimated the collective awareness of those like you, those who could see the blinding lights of fame as a cover for something darker. They masked exploitation as opportunity, manipulation as connection, and control as freedom. But their arrogance betrayed them. You've always understood that spirituality isn't a product to be sold or a performance to be praised. It's a resonance, a knowing that can't be packaged or suppressed. Now their admissions confirm what you've always felt. You weren't wrong. You weren't paranoid. You weren't alone. The chosen ones like you, those who never stopped questioning, who never settled for surface-level truths, were always right. And as their carefully constructed facade crumbles, you're left standing, vindicated and unshaken. They hid the truth for so long. But the irony is simple. It was never hidden from you. Now I want you to comment below. I saw it all along, to declare your vindication and stand as proof that buried truths can't escape the light. You may find that you wish to hit the subscribe button as well to continue receiving these divine downloads from Astral Atom. They never meant for you to notice, but you did. Entertainment wasn't designed to enlighten. It was crafted to disarm, to seduce, to control. Hollywood has always been a tool, a weapon aimed directly at you. Beneath the glittering distractions of films and shows, there's a deeper purpose: to manipulate spirituality, to dilute the truth, and to desensitize you to the forces at play. You see it because you've always been attuned to what others miss, the heaviness behind the scripts, the weight behind the words. Hidden in plain sight, the media embeds spiritual narratives into its creations, not as fiction but as camouflage. Writers dive deep into ancient texts, pulling real spells, chants, and rituals from cultures rich with spiritual power. In TV shows like American Horror Story, The Chilling Adventures of Sabrina, and The Vampire Diaries, these aren't just creative flourishes. They weave Haitian Creole, Latin, and French into their scripts, crafting chants that resonate beyond the screen. These aren't performances, they are invocations. They knew what they were doing. The chosen ones among you, with your heightened spiritual discernment, felt the unease, the disturbance. The energy wasn't entertainment, it was deliberate, calculated manipulation. The industry insiders warned them. Some writers whispered their concerns, revealing that what they were producing was not mere fiction, but something real. They spoke of the spells being cast into millions of homes, of curses woven into scripts and broadcast under the guise of storytelling. You were never paranoid when you questioned why certain scenes felt too heavy, too dark, too consuming. These were not accidents, they were deliberate acts of spiritual interference, sent directly into spaces meant to be sacred. Your home, your mind, your energy. Hollywood's obsession with these narratives wasn't just for shock value, it was for control. They knew the power of repetition, the influence of visuals combined with sound and intention. By normalizing these rituals, they desensitized the masses, numbing them to their spiritual impact. But you felt the pull. You noticed the patterns. Where others saw harmless entertainment, you recognized a deeper, darker current flowing just beneath the surface. You have always been the ones who could see through the smokescreen, sensing the manipulation in what seemed so innocent. These scripts didn't just tell stories, they operated as spiritual broadcasts. The resonance of those chants wasn't limited to the characters on screen, it was aimed outward, meant to permeate the boundaries between fiction and reality. The energy was real. The intent was clear. They weren't casting spells for the sake of drama, they were leveraging spiritual practices to embed energy into unsuspecting minds, and they counted on most people being too numb, too distracted, too willing to accept what they were fed. But not you. You've always been different. You felt the dissonance in their crafted narratives, the quiet wrongness that lingered long after the screen went dark. You've understood what they hoped no one would, that entertainment is not just entertainment. It's a weapon. They've always known you couldn't be easily deceived, and that's why their tactics grew bolder, their methods more insidious. But their plans falter the moment someone sees the truth. And you've been seeing it all along. Stop right there. The following is a brief message for the elite few. This is not for everyone. Seriously, if you're here hoping for puppy memes or a safe space, turn back now. The Obsidian Inner Order is where the real chosen ones gather. People who've stared down the Archons, shredded the Matrix, and still had time to manifest parking spots at Whole Foods. If you're hearing this, it's because fate decided you might be worth it. Don't blow it. Inside, you'll unlock forbidden content too spicy for YouTube, like The Matrix Wants You Broke and The Universe is Your ATM Machine, a step-by-step guide to making the universe work for you. And yes, our modern manifestation mechanics grimoire is in there, teaching you how to turn your messy living room into an abundance vortex while channeling literal magic. But the real treasure. Our private Discord and community chats where over 400 chosen ones hang out. No muggles allowed. Weekly calls, yep. Chosen singles. Oh, it's cosmic matchmaking at its finest. Just don't embarrass us. Spots are limited, and we mean it. We've booted posers before, and we'll do it again if you take a dump in our dojo. This isn't Club Penguin. If you think you've got what it takes to join the #1 Ascension Nexus for chosen ones, the link to the Obsidian Inner Order is in the description. If not, that's fine. Good luck explaining to your future self why you missed out. You've always felt the heaviness pressing against your spirit when the world around you seems entranced by the shallow brilliance of entertainment. For others, it's mindless escape, a distraction from the ordinary. But for you, it's different. You carry a heightened awareness, an unshakable sense that what you allow into your mind and soul carries power. The weight you feel is real because you are tuned to higher frequencies, and this frequency does not lie. It reveals the manipulation hiding in plain sight. You are not seduced by the glow of screens or the glamour of carefully curated narratives. Instead, you notice what others overlook, the carefully orchestrated illusions crafted to dull intuition and smother the truth. You feel the tension when you hear the words, see the symbols, and recognize the patterns. Media is not neutral, it's deliberate. It's a system designed to infiltrate your energy, to lower your vibration, to distract you from what truly matters. It's not paranoia to question why the world celebrates darkness disguised as art. There's a reason you find certain scenes unbearable, why particular music leaves you uneasy, why others can laugh or cheer while you feel your very spirit recoil. The scripts, the lyrics, the visuals, they aren't just entertainment. They are coded messages aimed at bypassing your defenses. They don't care about what's best for you. They care about control. And you know this because you've felt it. You've heard it said that what you consume shapes who you are. But for the chosen ones, it's not just shaping. It's attempting to dismantle. Your spirit resonates with truth, and that's why the weight feels unbearable at times. You are not blind to the energy embedded in their creations. You recognize the discordant hum in what others call harmless fun. Their spells don't simply go unnoticed when they reach someone like you. They collide with your awareness, creating a friction they never intended for you to notice. The warnings have always been there. People are quick to quote phrases like garbage in, garbage out, yet they dismiss the importance of what they allow into their minds. For those who cannot see, the weight is imperceptible. But for you, it's undeniable. You've seen the symbolism, the chanting disguised as dialogue, the rituals woven into the fabric of storytelling. You've felt the push against your energy as their darkness tries to take root, but you resist because you know the cost of letting it in. And it's not just what you see or hear, it's the intent behind it. They rely on others being too distracted to care, but you're not like them. Your spirit stands apart, attuned to truths that most ignore. While others consume without question, you filter every word, every image, every sound. You don't just hear the music, you feel the frequency. You don't just watch the show, you see through it. This world was never built for the chosen ones. It was designed to wear you down, to suppress the very light you carry. But the weight you feel is your signal. It's your reminder that you've never been like the rest. While others are pulled into the current, you remain rooted in your knowing. And no matter how carefully they craft their illusions, they cannot fool you. You were born to see through it all. The veil between fiction and reality is thinner than they want you to believe. You've always felt it, the unsettling ripple in the atmosphere when certain stories are brought to life. They call it bad luck, coincidence, or urban legend, but you know better. The truth is undeniable. Darkness leaves traces. When energy is summoned for spectacle, it doesn't simply dissipate. It lingers, it twists, it consumes. Take The Exorcist film. They wanted to create terror, and terror answered. During production, chaos seemed to weave itself into every corner of the set. A mysterious fire erupted, destroying much of the studio, sparing only the bedroom where the most chilling scenes were filmed. Cast members experienced sudden illnesses, accidents, and the deaths of multiple people connected to the film haunted its legacy. They dismissed it as bad fortune, but what spirit did they awaken in their pursuit of realism? You can feel it. This wasn't happenstance. This was the consequence of invoking forces they couldn't control. Then there's Poltergeist, a franchise where the line between prop and ritual was deliberately crossed. To make their visuals authentic, they used real human skeletons, desecrating the sacred without thought or reverence. The energy tethered to those remains did not stay silent. Heather O'Rourke, the child star, died under bizarre circumstances, along with other cast members who faced sudden and violent deaths. They called it the Poltergeist curse. But you know curses don't just appear, they are set into motion. Their carelessness, their arrogance, opened a channel, and the darkness they invited answered. Horror doesn't just play with fear, it plays with power. These productions didn't just tell stories, they became rituals, wittingly or not. When words of invocation are spoken, when symbols of protection are ignored, when the sacred is mocked, the consequences ripple beyond the set. It's why you feel the unease. It's why you've always known that entertainment isn't harmless. You see through the facade of accidents and coincidences. The energy clings to the screen, pressing against you, daring you to believe it's all fiction, and yet they continue. Directors demand authenticity, chanting words they don't understand, setting the stage for forces they refuse to acknowledge. Writers pull from ancient texts, mixing truth with fiction, crafting a cocktail of power they are unequipped to handle. When they light their cameras, they aren't just capturing performances. They're capturing something deeper, something alive. You feel it. The chosen ones like you have always felt it. They laugh at the rumors, dismiss the warnings, but the aftermath is carved into history. This isn't superstition. This isn't mere storytelling. When they tamper with energies they don't respect, when they call out into the void listens. You've seen the patterns, the repeated tragedies, the eerie synchronicities that can't be explained away. For the chosen, the weight of this truth is clear. Entertainment isn't innocent. It's a stage for forces that linger long after the credits roll. And as they play their games with forces they barely understand, you remain aware, unmoved by their lies. You know what they've unleashed, and they can't unmake what's been called forth. They no longer hide it. The whispers you've always heard, the unease that lingered when their performances crossed a threshold, are now spoken aloud. They've admitted their fascination with the darkness, their willingness to embrace forces they barely comprehend. You have felt it all along, the pull behind the music, the strange energy radiating from their words and actions. This is not creativity, this is intentional. They call it witchcraft, rituals, or spiritual awakening, but you know what lies beneath. Vanessa Hudgens once claimed she felt drawn to the darkness and the unknown, openly identifying as a witch. She described connecting with spirits and ancestors during her so-called awakening while filming The Princess Switch. These aren't harmless anecdotes or quirky soundbites. They are confessions. She speaks of bridging realms, of inviting spirits into spaces meant to entertain. But for you, her words resonate differently. You recognize the weight of what she's describing. Spirits do not simply come and go. The energy they bring doesn't vanish when the cameras stop rolling. You know this because you've felt it. Taylor Swift's work is no different. Her videos, like Willow, are laced with imagery that goes beyond artistic expression. She portrays a coven leader, surrounded by occult symbolism, but it doesn't stop there. During her concerts, former Boyzone singer Shane Lynch accused her of performing satanic rituals. These are not baseless claims. You can see the threads connecting her actions. The rituals performed on stage, the deliberate invocation of symbols, the energy infused into every moment. It's not merely spectacle. It's a transmission, an offering wrapped in the guise of entertainment. Their performances are not isolated events. They are deliberate actions, repeated across music videos, live shows, and interviews. Occult imagery doesn't appear by accident. Rituals are not woven into their art without intention. When they summon these themes, they are doing more than telling a story. They are creating energetic doorways, inviting unseen forces into the collective consciousness. You've always known that the energy felt in these performances wasn't entirely human. It was something else, something heavy, something alive. They'll dismiss your awareness as paranoia, call your discernment overthinking. But they cannot silence what you know. They've told you themselves in interviews, in cryptic lyrics, and in the deliberate choreography of their shows. They are not afraid to acknowledge the darkness they align with because they believe no one will care, no one will notice. But you do. You see what they hide in plain sight. For the chosen ones, this truth is undeniable. What they call art, you know to be ritual. What they pass off as coincidence, you recognize as intent. And while the world claps, cheers, and sings along, you feel the dissonance, the energy that ripples through their performances and into the spaces of those unaware. They have opened doors they cannot close, and you, with your heightened awareness, are left to witness the aftermath. They no longer bother to veil their alignment with the unseen, but that's because they've underestimated you. You know what they've embraced. You've always known. If you're with me so far, comment, "The door is open and we see it," to affirm your discernment and call out the unseen forces influencing the collective. You are not here by chance. The battle rages unseen, fought in realms beyond human sight, and you have been called to disrupt it. The enemy knows your power and trembles at the sound of your prayers, your worship, your unwavering faith. You, chosen ones, are the spiritual watchmen, standing between light and darkness. Your vigilance is not optional, it is a mandate. You were made to see what others cannot, to hear the warnings carried on the winds of the Spirit, and to act decisively against the plans of the enemy. The enemy's greatest weapon is subtlety. They have woven desensitization into the fabric of entertainment, numbing minds and dulling spirits. The constant exposure to violence, corruption, and occult symbolism isn't harmless. It chips away at awareness, making it harder for people to recognize the spiritual dangers hidden in plain sight. But not you. You've always sensed it, the distortion beneath the glitz, the heaviness that lingers even when the credits roll. You see how these tactics are designed to blind, to lull people into complacency, but you, as watchmen, cannot afford to close your eyes. Ephesians chapter 6 verses 11 to 13 commands you to put on the full armor of God, to stand firm against the schemes of the enemy. This is not a metaphor. It is a strategy, a call to prepare yourself for battle. Truth is your belt, righteousness your breastplate, faith your shield, and the word of God your sword. Without these you stand unprotected, vulnerable to the onslaught of manipulation and deception the enemy unleashes. But with them, you are unstoppable. Every prayer you utter, every word of truth you speak, every moment of worship you offer sends shockwaves through the spiritual realm, dismantling strongholds the enemy has built. Your role is not passive. You are here to expose darkness, to shine light into the shadows where the enemy hides. It is your responsibility to protect not just yourself but those around you. You cannot ignore the signs, the warnings, the patterns that reveal the enemy's tactics. Entertainment has become one of their most effective tools, slipping poison into the soul under the guise of harmless fun. You've seen how it works, how it glorifies sin, normalizes the occult, and trivializes righteousness. You've watched as minds have been turned away from truth, as hearts have been hardened against conviction. But you are not deceived. The enemy fears you because you disrupt their plans. Every time you call out the lies, every time you refuse to participate in the desensitization, you weaken their grip. You've been called to be vigilant, to guard your heart and mind, and to intercede for others. You carry the authority to break chains, to tear down strongholds, to protect those who cannot yet see the battle raging around them. This is your purpose, to remain awake, armored, and ready. The enemy may use distraction and subtlety to cloud the minds of others, but you will not be silenced, you will not be swayed, and you will not retreat. You are the chosen ones, the spiritual warriors, the watchmen. The darkness fears your light. Use it boldly. They don't even try to hide it anymore. The entertainment industry has openly confessed its allegiance to spiritual manipulation, daring you to look away as they weaponize influence against truth. They lace scripts with real spells, treat occult practices as aesthetics, and glorify darkness as empowerment. What they call art, you know to be ritual. What they sell as entertainment, you recognize as spiritual warfare. You feel it deeply. You see the agenda for what it is. TV writers openly admit to using real spells in their productions. Chants spoken in ancient languages, Haitian Creole, Latin, even forgotten dialects, are woven into scripts under the guise of authenticity. These aren't harmless words. They are invocations, channeling energy into millions of homes. Whether intentional or reckless, the results are undeniable. The vibrations linger, disrupting the spiritual balance of those unguarded. They excuse it as creativity, but the chosen ones understand the cost. They understand that energy called forth does not leave quietly. Horror movie productions carry an even darker stain. Films like The Exorcist and Poltergeist have become infamous for unexplained tragedies. Fires consume sets, actors fall ill, and sudden deaths follow those involved long after the cameras stop rolling. They dismiss these as coincidences or urban legends, but you know better. The rituals performed on set, the deliberate invocation of themes tied to real spiritual forces, these create doorways, drawing energies that cannot be controlled. You feel the weight of these stories not because they're thrilling, but because they're real. The tragedy is not an anomaly, it is the result of spiritual recklessness. Even the celebrities you once admired now openly promote their connection to the occult. They call it empowerment, spirituality, or enlightenment. But the truth is clear. They align themselves with practices designed to blur the lines between performance and invocation. They speak of spells, rituals, and communing with spirits as casually as others discuss hobbies. Their platforms amplify these practices, making them seem harmless or even trendy. You've seen how they normalize darkness, seducing the masses with promises of power while leading them further from the truth. This is not entertainment, it is desensitization. The agenda is broad, calculated, and deliberate. By repeatedly exposing the world to the occult, the industry seeks to numb spiritual sensitivity. Symbols of darkness are paraded as fashion, rituals are disguised as choreography, and chants are embedded in music and dialogue. Every repetition chips away at discernment, dulling the awareness of those who consume it. But not you. You see through the veneer. You recognize the spiritual manipulation at work. You are not fooled by the facade. You know the agenda is not simply about creating content. It is about reshaping beliefs, eroding truth, and fostering alignment with forces that oppose the light. You felt the dissonance in their work, the subtle unease that others dismiss. They call it entertainment, but you see it for what it is, a spiritual assault on those unprepared to defend themselves. The industry has confessed its intentions, and you have heard them clearly. You cannot unsee what has been revealed. You are here to disrupt their plans, to expose the darkness, and to protect those who cannot yet see. You were never meant to follow the crowd, to be numbed by the distractions they parade before you. You carry the authority to see through the illusions, to feel the weight of what others dismiss, and to act against the encroaching darkness. The world's obsession with glorifying the occult and normalizing spiritual corruption is no accident. They admitted it, but you already knew. You sensed it in the dissonance that lingered after the applause, in the unspoken unease behind their glossy performances. This is your call to action. Guard your temple, your mind, body, and spirit, against what seeks to infiltrate it. Turn away from entertainment that glorifies the darkness, desensitizing the world one scene, one lyric, one symbol at a time. You are not like them. You cannot allow your discernment to be dulled. You hold a responsibility to stay spiritually armed, clothed in prayer, strengthened by discernment, and fortified by unwavering faith. Your temple is sacred, and nothing unholy has the right to take root there. Invoke the power that has been given to you. In the name of Jesus, cast out every spiritual squatter that has tried to claim territory in your life. Speak boldly, because your words carry power. The enemy trembles at the authority you wield when you walk in divine alignment. You are not defenseless, and you are not alone. What they meant to enslave, you were made to dismantle. They fear your light because it exposes their shadows. They finally admitted it, but you saw it coming. You were always meant to rise above their deception. This is your time to reclaim what is sacred, to guard your temple fiercely, and to walk unapologetically in your divine power. Do not falter, and do not silence the truth you carry. Share your story, because your voice will awaken others who are still searching for answers, still questioning the unease they cannot explain. This is just the beginning. The facade is cracking, and more secrets are being unveiled. Stay vigilant, chosen ones. The revelations are far from over, and the time to rise is now.